There we go.
I like,
And have a forum with, and it's Maud is on, or is it, who did you say?
Miss Booker's on.
yes, I'm here.
Okay. So then, I guess we were going to, we continued the meeting,
That's correct.
and what, since we don't have an agenda, what, for today, what do we need to decide today?
Well,
What was your motion, was one of them, correct?
yeah, from what I understand, Taylor sent the motion that we, all unanimously approved last week to the attorneys. And I'm gonna let Taylor, I haven't read what they came back with, so I'm gonna let you.
I only got a telephone call. And what I sent them is what's in front of them. And the telephone call, which I've asked for a follow-up in writing, the telephone call says neither the ordinance that formed the IDA to begin with, nor the bylaws have any allowance for any participation by Board of Supervisor members. There's nothing in there about how you appoint.
Regular guests, we're public.
So that Eric said that it's a moot point. You can't restrict somebody that's not officially having a place at the table. It's just, I guess it's always been an accommodation.
So if I understand what you're saying, the Board of Supervisors has no authority to be on the EDA. They can be there, of course, as like any other county person, just to view, but they have no right to participate, no right to intervene, and no right to interrupt in any way. They're more or less just spectators.
It's nothing about Board of Supervisor participation in either the ordinance that first created the IDA, nor the bylaws, which have been amended as recently as 2 years ago. Well, actually, we just did a couple of weeks ago. So obviously, we didn't get anything back from the attorneys changing the bylaws to do what the motion had asked, because it's not in there to start with.
So they shouldn't even be there in the first place as a member of the EDA.
We've never been members of the EDA. We don't vote, we're not members. There's 7 members in the EDA.
Well, if you're not members, how come you intervene? You try to dictate the meeting.
It's always been that way.
You try to put your own agendas. You try to put your agendas on the table for us to try to deal with. When you're really just a guest, you're really just a spectator.
Right.
And you're disrupting the meetings. You're disrupting the flow of the meetings. You're disrupting the train of thought of the members, when you're just supposed to be spectators.
And you can keep us from doing that. And then we can just appoint more friendly people.
Well, I think that's what we need to do. We need to not have y'all here to disrupt our
Oh,
meeting.
we're gonna be here.
Well, you can be here.
Us from disrupting it.
No, you can be here as spectators all you want. As, just like any other citizens of Amelia County.
That's right.
They have the right to be here, except for when we go into closed session. Then we cannot do that.
Well, we can by invitation. If you request us, if you let us, we can do. You don't have to let us, that's correct.
So I guess you put a motion on the table, it was voted. You've had conversations with the attorney. what do we want to do? Sounds like it really is a formality, but not necessary. So what do we want to do?
Well, from what it sounds like to me, it's a big issue. It's neither here nor there. So we need to move on to the next item of business.
Could you
So-
all turn the volume up? I can hardly hear you all.
You can move it closer, maybe it'll help.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Just roll it even closer, but I've got my thing on slide off,
Is
please.
it wireless?
Yeah.
So we just, I feel like we need some action, or we voted it through, are we gonna include it, or are we going to just take the motion off and,
I feel like this, the motion has been made.
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry to cut across you, but I did not hear the motion. What is the motion?
and this is the continued meeting from last week. Motion that was put on the table to request that, we could replace representatives from the Board of Supervisors with others. We have since learned from the attorney, it's kind of a moot point. So I would like us to take some action, whether we're moving forward or whether we're just going to, I just need somebody to make, we have to take an action on this, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a motion on the floor, it's been
We need to take action, but if I'm out of order, please let me know. Why are we making a decision when the board is changing? And maybe they'll have some different representatives to come aboard.
Okay.
So why are we making the decision to change the order now rather than when the new board members come on?
It's not specific to this year.
Marty, it's not specific to any board members. This is just a bylaw change or addition that will be on record. And if it ever comes up, it will be in the bylaws and it can be addressed.
So are we voting to change the bylaws today?
We voted last week to add this bylaw to the EDA bylaws.
Okay, I'm sorry if I'm behind, but I wasn't there because I was fulfilling civic duty working at the polls. And if we're going to make some decisions on things, I need to be informed of the minutes of the meeting. I can't vote on something that I don't know anything about. And I don't know who else wasn't there and was not informed of the meeting. No minutes have come out. And I only haphazardly found out about this meeting. I was not informed that you all had set the meeting for this week.
Okay, well, it's my understanding that we would put minutes out when this meeting is adjourned. Rather, a continued meeting meant you normally, I don't think, do like, what would you call it, interim minutes. You would do the minutes following. So the problem is we don't have a chairman who is organizing all the flow of information. So
Okay.
I apologize that we didn't receive that information, but
We don't have a chairperson. How can we conduct a meeting? We can't just go on appointing chairpersons each
Well, no, I
meeting.
am, well, I was selected as, I'm the vice president, excuse me. I'm the vice president, and at the last meeting, I moved into the slot. I was informed that the chairman was no longer serving. So that's why I'm determined today. I'm on vacation, but I'm determined that also to be in on the meeting. And I have no problem with someone else conducting the meeting, but I am here too. I'm present, not to, because I know what is going on. So that is where we are. And of course, and my term ends the 30th of this month. So we, and I guess some of the other members as well, but we are trying to make a determination exactly where we are going from here. That is it. I can understand your point whereby you saying that you are really in the dark. You don't understand exactly what's going on. But the meeting was conducted, and this is just a continuation of what we did last week, and that's the way it is.
Okay, well, my question is, why wasn't I sent some minutes? If you knew we were gonna have a meeting this week, why wasn't I informed that we were having a meeting this week?
So,
And that's open to anyone that wants to answer.
Look at Article 8, last page
Of this,
of the bylaw.
And I did inform Mr. Harvey that I was not going to be at that meeting.
May I ask a question as well? Whose responsibility is it? Is it for us? Because I know I haven't gotten any minutes in meetings that I've missed. Is it the member's responsibility to check with whoever, or is it for the secretary or Mr. Hardy or whoever it is to pay, to let everyone know that miss a meeting what's going on? That's the question.
Well, I don't feel I'm in any official capacity on this board able to do anything other than be a representative. Jackie has clearly stated that she is the acting vice chair, which entitles her to the proceedings of this. So I think that because of what Maud is bringing up and what Jackie is saying,
Did you say what Marty is screaming about?
no. Oh, my goodness.
I'm not sure how to proceed because I wasn't prepared because I was under the impression that Jackie, you were going to be here. I'm not the chairman, so I'm going to, I guess we'll talk amongst us, in person, people here. What should we do? Do we just need to put this off until next meeting? Get our ducks in a row, or anybody have an opinion?
Well, you know, when this was brought up last meeting, I seconded the new bylaw that Walter brought up. Now, we've gone to the county lawyer. And if we vote for this either way, or we voted to approve it, it's really still a moot point because it doesn't have any effect on what's already, the way the bylaws is written up.
That's right.
So you're putting a dead issue into that really has no bearing on what we already have to deal with. So,
Well, if we're gonna vote on this, several members are going out on the 30th. Why can't we just wait and vote on this when the new members come on? That's less than 15 days that the appointments are going to be made.
I know, but the person that also made the motion, the people that probably made or second the motion probably won't even be a member anymore. So how
True.
effective was that? I mean, how
True.
effective would that motion be? You know, you don't have the whole, because you wouldn't have the whole set of people. That's my take on it. I might be wrong, but to me, you would be having a different set of people. You are pushing one issue from one select group of directors to over to a whole new different set combination. So to me, the issue needs to be resolved among where that's why we continued the meeting to resolve the issue, not so much to push it off the table until the next, and put it on another set. And that's where I think that it should be, because we have to resolve the issue. That's why we continued it. Either we're going to vote for, nay, or to do whatever we're going to do with it, and move forward. Otherwise, putting it on the table to bring in a lot of new directors that don't really even know what's going on, I don't think that's fair to the new members that's going to be coming on.
So with the information that we received, which you just mentioned, is this something we want to keep in here? What would we have to do to just not table it, but rescind it? How do you do that?
You have to rescind the motion.
Pardon?
Walt would have to rescind his motion, ask it to be withdrawn.
Even after it's been seconded and voted on?
Well, it wasn't voted on last week because it needs 7-day notice. And that's why we held this a continued meeting, because we needed 7 days. Everybody was notified at the last meeting. Then we had to wait 7 days before it was actually voted on
Okay.
Well, I wasn't included, so I don't know that you
Well-
all placed it on hold for 7 days. That's why we need minutes to go out immediately after meetings. We don't need to wait for minutes to come out.
They go out and to be approved.
I feel like,
I was not informed on this.
well, and the way that it's coming back and the way it reads is, we don't want to put things in our bylaws that don't need to be there. So, you made the motion, Walt, but the way I'm looking at this is, I don't even know if we need to go forward with this. I mean, I'm open for discussion.
Well, I'm gonna ask for the wishes of this committee. What do y'all want to do? And that includes you two, Jackie and Marty. What do you want to do? Do you want me to rescind this motion? And it will just, what I understand, it'll just go away. It's a moot point. Or do y'all want to proceed with it and have it drawn up and put it in the bylaws? It's y'all's wishes.
Okay, could you, excuse me, all right, so that it's clear to everyone exactly what we are voting on.
My motion,
Could we have the
Mr. Town.
secretary to read it back as you presented it?
I'm gonna say this right off the cuff. The words might be a little bit different, but basically it said that the Economic Development Authority has the right to request and be granted alternate representation from the Board of Supervisors. And Brenda, help me on this. That was it. Did you hear that, Marty?
I heard that, but my question is, Why are you requesting alternates?
Because I feel like the representatives that we had from the Board of Supervisors was not participating well with this EDA. They were not helping in any way. They were being very critical and disrupting the meetings, the flow of the meetings. And I thought that a different representative would be better for this organization. That's the reason that I came up with this.
Okay, so you're asking for different representatives.
Yes.
They are they are appointed by the board themselves.
No, they were self-appointed, and and from what I understand, according to the attorneys, really, they have no right to be here as a part of this board, other than, or part of this committee, other than just to be spectators and to view it. They had no right to intervene, no right to cause disruption or have their own personal agenda to this committee. And that's why I felt like we needed different representation. But from what I understand, the attorneys came back and said, well, they had no right to be here anyhow. They have no right to be a part of this other than being spectators, as any other citizen of Amelia County has that right.
I understand that part. But as a citizen, they still are allowed to voice their opinions, right?
They do not have the right to intervene in the meetings. No.
I'm not saying intervene in the meeting, but I'm saying as a citizen, they still have the right to speak.
After the meeting's over with, they can voice their opinion, but not during the meeting, because it disrupts the flow of the meeting. It disrupts.
What is the purpose of having a public meeting if no one can speak?
Well, if you have a public meeting, you have a certain time.
This is a public meeting unless we are in
Closed session.
closed session.
It is a public meeting, but they have a certain time that they can speak. They can't just arbitrarily interrupt the meeting to speak in the middle of the meeting, because it's very disruptive. If I went to the Board of Supervisors meeting, I'm not allowed to talk in the middle of the meeting. I have a certain designated time that I can speak.
Is this your opinion, or is this just your opinion that we're voting on, or is it the consensus of the group?
Well, we voted on it last week and it was unanimously approved for this bylaw. It's not my personal.
No, I was asking a question. It was a question, you answered it.
I would interject here. It almost seems like we're talking about a procedural thing. We would like to, as a board, have the flow of a meeting go so that we could go through the meeting and then maybe have a section of time for public comments. Exactly. I don't think that this motion really accomplishes, based on this new information, we're going to have the same, if this motion, if we were to put this into the bylaws, it does not solve our problem of having a person say something in a meeting. All right, so I think that we're doing this and with this new information, I think we should, my recommendation to you all, you ask, would be to rescind it, and we add some sort of thing that we're going to have the meeting, and then we'll have a section of time when there can be comments, and then we go forward
I just ask y'all, what is the wishes of this committee? If y'all wish for me to rescind it, I will rescind the motion.
All right, since I learned this from the county lawyer, I'd like to rescind it. But what we're talking about here is public comment. And we have people that show up and we can ask for public comment in the flow of the meeting.
Mhm.
And if we don't ask for it, they can't give it.
Thank you.
And, that way, however the supervisors want to come. And some of them, may have more information on the project we're talking about than we do. But anyway, I'm gonna say, let's rescind this. We know more than what we did by the fact that we are a self-bodied entity. So we have more power to control the meeting than we actually thought we did.
And I would just add too that I think what we need to do is have the role of chairman be more of a chairman. So, the chairman controls the flow of information at a meeting. So I think going forward, as we think about putting someone in as a chairman, that person needs to be keeping us on track. And if there's a time when there's comments and that, that take us off certain that's not from the board, we need to just be brought back to the, so we're talking about I think when I look at the parliamentary procedures, we're talking about what should be a decisive chairman who leads, and we want, it's like you said, we want, like, a lot of the board of supervisors knows more about these items than we do. So we need to have their information. It's just how the flow of the meeting goes. That's how I'm looking at this. So.
Dennis?
And also, also the bylaws, if we read our bylaws, it states in section 609 that except for otherwise provided in the bylaws, procedures at the meeting shall follow the Robert's Rules of Order. So if anyone is addressing the floor, it should only be one person on the floor at one time talking. Otherwise, disruptive behavior is not allowed according to Robert's Rules of Order. So, if we stay on course by how the bylaws are already written, then I think we will have less confusion going forward. But it's when I think the problem comes with the overstepping, and so this is what we is using, because of course the bylaws are really our governing body. So this is what we have to use in order to conduct our meeting.
Well, based on seems to be everybody's opinion. Marty, what is your opinion?
My opinion is to rescind your vote, your motion.
Okay. All right, well, I think we're all on the same page on that, and I will rescind the motion that we adopt this new ballot. Pardon me?
We're not adopting the new bylaw.
It's just rescinding this, not like that's explain to them.
And I think we have learned from this that how we can add or detract from the bylaws we got. So it's been a learning curve as it is.
So then, no further action would be needed. It's just off the table. He rescinded it and it's done.
That's right.
Okay, so there's no further discussion because he rescinded that. So, I don't know that we have any other items other than, if you want, I submitted my letter of intent, and I want to just say that I have a personal interest in that. And I want to disclose publicly that I do. The contract that I signed with the county in 2017, I believe it was June, I'm not exactly sure, June 15th. I put a right of first refusal in to purchase this land. I'm exercising that option, and I do have a personal interest in that. So I want to disclose that publicly. So with that, I'm going to leave the room. And Taylor, you will distribute the copies of that letter, and then you'll
Okay.
let me know.
And don't leave because.
No, I'm not.
Other stuff.
You know, do you want to do the other stuff first?
What? It's up to you.
Why don't we do that? I'll step out. You get me when, if there's any discussion, and then obviously if there's any action on that, I don't want to be part of that as well.
Okay. Well, what we would need is a motion to go in closed session to talk, real estate matters. Brenda, do you have the code section?
2.2-3711A3.
So we'll look for a motion to go into closed session for the rule that you just mentioned.
I'll make a motion to close session.
I'll second.
And I'm going to remove myself.
Was that a motion?
Teacher.
Was that a motion?
Yeah,
There's a motion and a vote to go into closed session, and I am going to stop the recording. Is everybody clear? Ms. Scott, are you clear on that?
I am clear.
All right.
How long do you think this should take? Because that's my computer.
This part isn't gonna take long. About the.
Okay, so we're finished in closed session. And is there any, do we want to?
We've got certified.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. So we need to certify.
I'll certify.
That's
I certify.
I certify.
And I certify that we discussed,
So for the record, all 6 attendees certified.
okay, so for the record, all 6 attendees certified for the record on closed session. Okay, so do we want to make any decisions on this at this point? Do we want to give it some more time? What would we like to do here on the Genesis City Core?
Do you all want to go back to him and meet again and hear him out? Make a counter offer?
I think we need to go on and make a decision, then he may or may not count on it, but with the interest rates subject to change. As soon as he can get his deal, it'll be a better deal to be. From a business standpoint.
So he's ready to purchase now?
Says it is.
Okay.
I agree with you, Robert. I think we could do that. I think it's fair. What we've proposed.
Yeah.
Are you ready to make a motion?
I don't think you need specifics in the motion
Okay,
because there's still, I guess, could be considered negotiations going on. So I think you could direct an EDA member or somebody to carry forward with your request.
Can't hear you, Taylor.
all right, Taylor just said that we don't need a motion right now. We're just going to direct either an EDA member or a someone to meet with, Sam and kind of give him the update of what we discussed here. Does someone want to volunteer to, meet with Sam?
Well, you met with it before.
Okay.
I suggest you do it again.
All right, I'll meet you.
do it?
Yeah, I will. So I'll meet with Sam and we'll go over it and then I'll report back probably, in an email. And maybe Taylor, you can join me as well again. And then we'll just go from there. Okay, is there any other items that we need to discuss today? All right,
Is there not continuing business?
yes. So I guess hearing no discussion, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Well, be it.
All right.
All right. What are you doing this